Okay, decision to come to Canada. It was pretty fast decision for me because it was a period when Soviet Union collapsed, and it was turmoil all over the place, and big turmoil was in my native Moldova, and it was a civil war between Transnistria and Chisinau side. And before I was in a position of working for the Prosecutor General Office, and I was considered as an old school specialist, and in Moldova, same as in Baltic states, for example, smaller countries, over former Soviet Union republics. The new nationalist government, they took very drastic measures to change judicial system. So statistically, like in Moldova, 88 or 82% of judicial system was dismissed completely. So those figures will give you an idea what, and I was in the highest position in Prosecutor General Office, and so I wasn't. They didn't prosecute us and try to to arrest us or to, but they create this atmosphere of not welcoming us anymore to work, and so in a matter of year and a half, like this system was destroyed almost completely. Yeah. Especially with Ministry of Interior was a little bit difficult for them to change completely, because it's a huge people-wise huge power. It's like it's police officers, it's firefighters, so you cannot dismiss like 88% because it will be anarchy in the country. But the smaller like court system, like Prosecutor General Office, even lawyers association, it will be much easier to disassemble piece by piece. So that was happened, and a lot of my colleagues they moved to Ukraine or Russia, or they've been invited to join there, because in the big countries of the former Soviet Union, like Ukraine, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Russia, they didn't took those chances to dismiss the judicial system, because in those big countries it will be absolutely chaos if they will try to do this. It's not like a small country which can actually change things maybe faster. So my colleagues moved, but for me was at this time it already was kind of a wave of immigrants from Moldova because of civil war to Canada, because Canada was considered like a country which take with conflict zone people to take care of. So and that's how one of my friends just mentioned it, and that's how it came to me. Maybe the idea, maybe I should try and go. No, I came as a refugee, but I didn't complete my refugee process, because when I came, I met my lovely wife, and we get married, and that's how. Yes, yeah, in Canada. So I didn't complete this process. It's a switch from one status to another, and now it's 17 years we are together now. And yeah, it took 10,000 kilometers to meet each other. Had a lot of common friends, but we never met back home in Chisinau city. We just met here in Toronto.
Oh, you were from the same?
Yeah, same city. Yeah, a lot of friends. Yeah. So that's why, and I came to Canada. Of course, it was only a briefcase and a couple, I don't know, shirts, and that's wasn't big. At the same time, since I was a child, I traveled. Despite Soviet Union was very iron wall closed country, but I was a dancer with a child dance company, so I travel quite a lot. So for me, like moving places or changing countries or being in different environment wasn't a shocking experience. As I then faced that a lot of former Soviet citizens, it was a little bit shocking experience for them to change, to go through barriers, or through not only economical, like cultural and language barriers. It's very painful, was very painful for a lot of former Soviet citizens who immigrated to Canada, and some of them I know even live here for 10, 20 years. They still cannot go through those barriers. For me, it was a little bit easier because I did communicate with since I was 6, 7 years old. I traveled, and yeah, because in Moldova, let's say we were able to deal with it was a small country. It always was Moscow somewhere far away, so you kind of know that you should deal with one side and with another side, and you kind of in this in the port where you should make yourself comfortable to live with other around you. Especially there's Ukraine on the other side, Romania, and Moscow is far away through those countries, but it was a major power then when the Soviet Union was capital of the Soviet Union was in Moscow. So you kind of always deal with little cultures and little language barriers and go through this. Yeah, so that was much easier. Yeah. And same in Toronto. After I came to Canada, I found out, for example, the same with Baltic states citizens who came to Canada. It was a little bit easier for them to integrate into Canadian society, probably. And tell you the truth, I never thought about actually before, but now it came to me that I would say that Moldavians are much easier to integrate into Canadian society than, for example, Russian people who are coming like from Siberia or those parts of Russia, which were kind of not exposed to the rest of the world. Yeah, this was situation, of course, with me as well. That's because like being Moldavian, if like again, if I heard or see something against Russia or Soviet culture, that for me was kind of not attached to myself personally, because I don't. That's why I came to Canada, because I was invited actually to work in Moscow, but my decision was why I should go to Moscow. What kind of connections do I have with Moscow? If compare with Toronto, for example. For me, it was kind of the same, Moscow or Toronto. If I don't have Russian blood in me, or I don't have relatives there living, so what's the point? What's the difference to go to Moscow, or to Munich, or to Paris, or to Toronto? That for me was equal. But for people, that's the same probably not just for Russians. If some American, that's why this image of Americans to be ignorant and to be abroad, for example, to be very loud and demanding. That's because of they belong to this dominant country and dominant cultures. So they want the same domination. They even people intelligent, maybe even people with education, they still cannot control this feeling to belonging to dominant power state, you know. And for them to move down, it's a little bit easy. I mean, not easy, a little bit harder. Yeah. But for a small country like Moldova, of course, it's always you always kind of feel that you are between something, or you should to deal with the different issues, and try to be okay, and that's it. That's the main part. And it's.
So you arrived to Toronto.
I arrived to Toronto, of course. That's what major immigrants arrived to Toronto, and my English wasn't was okay at the time of arrival, which was a big, big plus for me compared with others probably, because I was able to communicate. My English was good because, like in former Soviet Union, English as a second language was very popular, but in schools. But a lot of people had no chance to practice their English. That's why it was this balance of maybe they had opportunity to learn something, but in practice they never use it. So it's but I use it in practice again because of my travel. I communicate with Americans, with British guys, with Australians, and Germans, and French guys. We always talk like in English. So since I was a young kid, I kind of used this language, so it was easier for me to communicate. And it was a big help, of course. That language was a huge plus for me compared with others, and it helped me a lot on the first stage to make a lot of decisions, not decisions, a lot of moves, and make some right decisions, what to do and how. What kind of apartment to rent and what kind of I found job. It was recession time in Canada, especially not in Canada, in Ontario this time. I think British Columbia was okay at the beginning of the 90s, but it was NDP government then in Ontario. It was it was a big economical kind of let's say not chaos, but it was economical crisis in Ontario for sure. That was before. It was before 96 or 97. So time I came, first 5 years was not very good time to come for immigrants, for example. But I found job maybe again probably because of my language, and maybe in a couple of weeks after I arrived, I already had